What's up, everybody? We're going to be talking about Nvidia, PriceIsKing.com. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe. It really helps me with the algorithm on YouTube. So make sure you hit that. Let's talk about Nvidia. What's happening, right? There's a lot of things going on with Nvidia. It's a growth stock. Obviously, there's a split that's happening that most people are aware of, and it's happening on Friday. And what are you looking for, right? What's going on? What's going to happen with the stock itself after the split, right? Right now, Nvidia is the hottest stock out there, one of the hottest stocks out there, right? This chip maker is undergoing a very significant shift, right? And it's pretty much single-handedly making the AI revolution, right? It's pretty much the go-to company for chips, right? For the AI revolution that's happening right now as we speak, right? And so what they're doing, the stock price has risen so much. I mean, if you go back to my previous video on Nvidia, you should see where that stock was just about a month ago when I made that video and the recommendation that I had for you, right? If you go back, I'll put a link to it. Make sure you hit that and take a look at that video, because you'll be surprised at everything that I said on that video and where the stock price is today, right? So it's no surprise that we're at this stock split where it's a factor by 10. So for every share that you own, you're going to get 10 shares of Nvidia. And what does that mean? Does that mean you're going to be making a lot more money or just double your money? No, it doesn't mean that way, right? They're going to adjust the price of the stock by that factor, right? So the value that you currently own for that one particular stock, it's going to remain the same after the split, right? The only thing that's going to happen at the end of the day is they're going to have more shares available for the population, for more investors, right? And so that it's accessible to a wide range of investors, and at the same time, it may not be as attractive to many investors because of the high price tag right now. So they probably want to split that up so that it's easier for smaller players to eat up the stock at a cheaper price. Not all stock splits are very positive for all companies, right? Because when certain companies that are not as powerful as Nvidia, when they do stock splits, what ends up happening is, there may not be a lot of interest out there. And when there's not a lot of interest, the stock just, flat out doesn't get the recognition. Not a lot of people want to get in. And so that's a significant risk that companies take. But in this case, right, Nvidia is a pretty powerful company. There's a lot of demand, right? And there's going to be a lot of demand because of the AI hype, right? And that is going to continue to grow. It's not going to stop. And they're taking risks, and they're making sure that the measured risks that they're taking is they're going to avoid such situations, right? Post a split. So what happens, right? So anybody who owned a stock of Nvidia at the end of Thursday, they're going to get that split by the end of day on Friday. So if you own one share of stock on Thursday night, on Friday, the number of shares are gonna pretty much 10 folds, right? So if you own one, you're gonna have 10, and that's what's gonna happen for all investors. Now that doesn't mean the price is gonna remain the same. They're going to, by a factor of 10, they're going to split that stock price as well. And so when you're looking at this chart, you may not see it. Okay, most of these broker firms, trading platforms, they automatically take the consideration into the stock splits, and so the graph will look pretty much the same. And if I were to go back and look at Microsoft, right? Microsoft has split their stock many times over, and you can see that there's no gaps in the chart itself. Even if you go for many years out, if you look at, I don't know if I have 3 years, you're not going to be able to see a huge gap, right? Because they factor this in, right? All of these companies nowadays, they factor in very sophisticated software that kind of automatically does these for you, right? So now what is going to happen to Nvidia in the next few days, weeks after the split, right? Generally speaking, like even if you look at Tesla did a split. I remember when that was a huge hype a couple of years ago. That was exciting because it had gone way high, right, into close to 2000 and beyond, right? And then when it split, we were split back down to like 200, 300 bucks, I believe. I forgot what the number was, but then it kind of kept on going up and up and up, right? And that may happen with Nvidia, right? It's a lot of speculation game, and if you're a long-term investor, you have to just sit back and relax and watch, right? You're not gonna lose out on money unless the company makes a drastic change or makes a disaster move. Something bad happens. I think that's, at least in the short term, you're not gonna see that. Long term, this company is pretty solid. The leadership is pretty solid. The chart, I mean, if you're looking at it from a technical perspective, I mean, this is a 5-year weekly. You just see our moving average. I always look at the 50 over the 200 as an indicator, like I talked about in my previous video. Is as long as it's above, the 50 is above, that's a good indication that the bars are there. It's continuing to go up, and that's most likely the trend. One of the things I see over here on the MACD, it's crossed over and it's gone up pretty high, right? So there's going to be some pullback. You will see some pullback, okay, no doubt about it. That may be a golden opportunity for you to get in, especially in the long term, right? This is not a recommendation by any means. Make sure you talk to your financial advisor. But what I'm saying is, from a technical perspective, this is what's going to happen, right? Now, if you look at the daily, let's look at the daily, 1-year daily, you're going to continue to see very much similar situation like the weekly, where the 50 is above the 200 and there's a huge gap between the two, and it's still pointing upwards, right? And so what that's going to show you is that this daily bar, you're going to see some redness, and you're going to see that for next few days maybe come down around maybe 1,089, maybe 1,100, just for some profit taking. There may be some adjustments. People may not be happy with after the stock split. Sometimes you'll see that there's going to be a little bit of a pullback. What I generally think, if it's a solid company, for example, Microsoft, Tesla, when they all, like even Apple, when some of these companies, when they've actually split, it kind of gives the small players the opportunity to get in. Okay, and so if you're small in this game and you really want to take advantage of Nvidia, you're going to have golden opportunity within the next day or two or so, right, to take in. Obviously, volatility will play a huge role in this, and if you saw what happened with Tesla, you're going to see big moves up and down, up and down. I didn't see that with Nvidia, which was a surprise, which was good because it's easier for you guys to trade. You're not risking money and you're not losing a lot of money. I know with Tesla, I mean, that thing was moving up and down so dramatically and drastically that if you bought it at the wrong time, you could have lost a lot of money, right? I remember I had a friend that bought it at like $700, and right now I don't even know what it's trading at. Let me see what Tesla's trading at. 177. Okay, so that just kind of shows you, if you bought the wrong amount, you would have been screwed. And so just keep that in mind, right? Especially when there's a lot of transaction volume going on, you're bound to have huge swings, right? And what I see right here, if you're looking at this, right, and even let me see if I can add some of these technical indicators, see if we can see some pullback and kind of just see where things might come back down, right? So you're looking at the 61.8, which coincides right here with the 200, and that shows me about $700, right? That's a pretty dramatic move, right? I don't anticipate, especially with the demand that there is with this stock, I don't anticipate it ever going down that far. But what I do see is this 38.2, which is close to the 50. I could see that happening, which is the 915 area, right? And now, mind you, this is on a Thursday night. I'm recording this, so tomorrow these prices are going to differ. They're going to be different in terms of, you know, what they split it at, what the, you know, the evaluation might be. I could do the math right now and give you the number, but I don't want to speculate, and I just don't want to kind of just give you a random number based on the math. But you'll see that when it does happen tomorrow, those numbers are going to change, but it could come down same percentage wise. And when it does, I would say this would be a golden opportunity. When you see it on the graph tomorrow, you'll see some smart movement downwards. I don't know if you watched my previous videos, but I do follow the rule of thirds. And if you don't know what that is, rule of third is basically you're saying, okay, I'm going to get in thirds. Okay, when there's a dip, if I was going to buy, say, 1,000 shares, okay, and I'm going to be a round number. Same thing, you know, I'll use a 100 example in a minute, but if I were to buy 1,000 shares of Nvidia, the rule that I would follow is I know that there's going to be some downward pressure. So what I'll do is I'll get in 1/3 right around this area. Okay, 1/3 would be about 300 shares. Okay, if it continues to fall further down, which I know that it may come down to here, I will add another third over here, which would be another 300 shares. Okay, and if it continues to go further down, my last third would be somewhere around here. Okay, and so that's the rule of thirds. I get in here, and this is how you average, cost averaging, right? I don't know if you've taken my lessons, those free lesson videos that I have on YouTube. Make sure you check them out. But what it does is basically you're cost averaging and making sure, especially when you know that the company is strong, there could be just profit takers out there that are wanting to take. I mean, even senior leadership, when they sell in huge millions of shares. And when that happens, it may not be immediate, but they'll release it in batches, right? So if you have an executive selling 1 million shares, they won't sell 1 million in one day. What they'll do is over a period of 5 days, they may sell, 250,000 or 200 every day until they reach their goal of getting out a million shares. Okay, and so as an example, that same example, if I were to take 100 shares, and if I wanted to just follow that rule of third, I would say 33 shares right around here, another 33 here, and then maybe 34 over there on the last one. Okay, and so that's how I follow it, right? And then the same goes for the opposite, right? If you know you have a target, if you were to get in and you have a target and your average is somewhere around here and you want to exit out somewhere here, follow the rule of thirds again when you're exiting. You exit out your 33%, and then put a second target of 33% above that, and then do another 33 following that, right? And so that's how I follow it, and that's how you kind of make some of these decisions, right? Obviously, make sure you speak to your financial advisor. While risks are different, this is Nvidia that very hot at the moment, and you can take advantage of it. And this again could be one of those stocks that could give you substantial amount of money, right, in a short period of time, just because of the nature of AI and where it's headed in the next few months and years. If you have any questions, please let me know. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe, comment. Thank you for watching PriceIsKing.com.